Hey everybody, today we're going to be working on Excel Project 1. So the first thing you're going to do is change the name of your spreadsheet. So we'll give that a right click and we are going to name it Timesheet. After you name it Timesheet, we're also going to go ahead and change the tab color. You can pick any color of blue that you'd like. And then you just exit out of the tab color. And then we can start our spreadsheet. So the first thing we're going to do is put a title on it, which is the Work Study Time Card. So in A1, we're going to put Work Study Time Card. And then since that's our title, we want to go ahead and merge A1 through D1 and make that text a little bit bigger, size 18. And you also want to make sure it's centered. Mine does it automatically, but if yours didn't, you just need to click the center text button. Next, we're going to start working on the contents of our spreadsheet. So starting in B2, we're going to put hours, gross pay, and net pay. And then we want to go ahead and center those as well, so you would just highlight and center. And then starting in A3, we're going to put the names of our work study students. Joe Cool, Mary Contrary, Tom Thumb, Peter Piper, and finally in A7 you should put your own name. And then we're going to fill in the hours for each of those students, starting in B3 with a 25, 24, 16 rather, not 17, 18, and finally 22. So now that we've got our hours put in for each of our students, we're going to go ahead and put in our pay rate. So in A10, we're going to write pay rate. And then in B10, we're going to make the pay rate $8.50. As you can see, that doesn't format that as a dollar value, so we're going to come up here to number, and we're going to change that from general to currency. And then I'll go ahead and change it to a dollar amount for us. The next thing we're going to do is, as you can see, Mary Contrary is being cut off because there's not quite enough room. So we're going to change the column widths. Everybody should change the column width to 145 pixels, or if you can't use pixels, because mine does not display in pixels, it would be 15.33. So you're going to go ahead and click here, and then any column that you want to change, go ahead and click between the two columns, and we're going to change that column width. Perfect. Okay, so now that all of our data is displaying correctly, we're going to go ahead and start calculating our gross pay and net pay. In order to calculate gross pay, it's going to be hours times the pay rate. The thing you want to make sure of is, because we're going to be copying these formulas, you need to make sure that the pay rate is an absolute value. So, to calculate gross pay for Joe Cool, we would do equals the cell reference for how many hours he worked, multiplied by an absolute reference of the pay rate. It doesn't automatically become absolute. You can change it to absolute by putting a dollar sign before both pieces of the cell reference. So that calculates our gross pay for Joe. And because Excel is so wonderful and we can use it for so many things, you just have to go down to the bottom right hand corner with the plus sign and go ahead and drag those numbers down. And we're going to actually do that again with our net pay. To calculate net pay, it would be gross pay minus the taxes. For this exercise, we're going to assume taxes are 10%. So you would have equals your gross pay minus 0.1, which is the tax rate, multiplied by the gross pay. And again, bottom right hand corner with the black plus sign, if you drag, we can drag and drop that formula down. So now that we've got our gross pay and our net pay, we want to go ahead and find some totals. The total hours, total gross pay, and total net pay. So all you have to do is highlight the range of hours and then come up here and click the auto sum button. And that automatically adds those together for you. And just like we did for gross pay and net pay, just come down to the bottom right hand corner to the black plus sign and you're going to drag those across and it will automatically copy that formula for you. You should also make sure that C8 and D8 are formatted as currency. So we want to make sure that our totals stand out a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and highlight those cells and give them some shading and border. So we're going to come down here, right click, and format those cells. And we want to fill them with blue. Again, you can pick any color blue you like. And we want to give them a nice thick outline. There we go. Now that we've given our totals a little bit of character, we're going to go ahead and create a 3D pie chart. So to do that, you want to go ahead and highlight A3 through A7, and then using the Control or Command key, you also want to highlight D3 through D7. And then you're going to come up to the Charts tab and go to Pie, 3D Pie. And then you want to move that over to A13. And now we have our pie chart. So now that we've got our pie chart in the right place, we're going to do a little bit of formatting. We're going to go ahead and give it a title first. So come up to Chart Layout, and we're going to give a title above the chart. And we'd like to change that title to Student Net Pay. So we'll just click here and change that to Student Net Pay. We also want to change our chart so that it has some labels on our data. So we're going to go ahead and give it percentage categories. And if you'd like, you could also delete the legend and have the data labels be category name and percentage. It's all in how you like the look of your chart. Both answers are correct. Okay, so now that we've got our net pay chart, we want to go ahead and make a gross pay chart as well. So we're going to come down here and insert a new sheet, and we're going to rename that. So it's just a right click and a rename. And we want to name that gross pay. And if you'd like, you can give that a different color, otherwise you can just leave it white. I'm going to go ahead and change mine to green. And then here we're going to create a clustered column chart. There's lots of different kinds of clustered column charts, so you can pick whichever one you like. You're just going to go up to the Chart tab and Column. And I'm going to go ahead and create a 3D clustered column. Now as you can see, there's nothing in here, but that's okay because we're going to go ahead and add the data now. So we'll right click and we are going to select the data. So you want to click back to your timesheet, and then you want to use the names again, and then a comma so that it knows that there's two ranges of data that you're going to use. And then you also want to choose the gross pay column. And then press OK. And now we have a clustered column chart. Now I've moved my chart up to the top of the page. I'm actually going to move it back down a little bit because we are going to give that a title. So again, we're going to go to Chart Layout and we're going to give it a title above the chart. and we are going to name this one gross pay. So now that we've got our heading, we can actually go ahead and delete this legend. You just click and delete. So I'm going to make that a little bit larger. And then the next thing we're going to do is insert a call out for our lowest value. So to insert a call out, you're going to go Insert Picture Shape, and we're going to go to the call outs. And you can pick any call out that you'd like. So now that you've got your call out inserted, we want to make sure that it points to the lowest value, which would be Tom Thumb. And then inside the call out, we want to make sure that it says lowest pay. So to do that, you just click on the call out and start typing. So we put lowest pay. We want to make that stand out a little bit more, so we can change the font size, and you can also change the font color if you'd like, but we just want to make sure that lowest pay fits inside our little bubble. So now we've got our lowest pay callout. With that, our Excel Project 1 is complete. You just need to save it as Excel Project 1 and upload it for submission. Thanks. Hopefully this was helpful.